Thank you, Chair. Thank you for appearing again today. Similar question to the others in the alphabet soup of climate change and energy agencies. As simply as possible and specifically as possible, what does the Clean Energy Regulator do? Could you tell me the basic accountabilities and the uniquenesses of those accountabilities?
Yeah, so thank you, Senator. So, as I stated previously, we're an economic regulator for the purpose of accelerating carbon abatement for Australia. We do this by administering a range of schemes on behalf of the Australian Government.
Did you say you're an accelerator? A regulator?
A regulator.
Sorry.
We have two outcomes currently within our corporate objectives. First is to contribute to a reduction in Australia's net greenhouse gas emissions, including through the administration of market-based mechanisms that incentivise reduction in emissions and the promotion of additional renewable electricity generation. And the second is to contribute to the sustainable management of Australia's biodiversity through the administration of market-based mechanisms.
So your uniqueness is the latter?
So our uniqueness is we manage or administer the various government schemes, particularly where they involve the formation of a market.
The carbon dioxide market or carbon market?
Yes, Senator.
Thank you. How many employees do you have?
We have around 400, Senator.
400. Could you tell me the breakdown, permanent employees, casual employees and also contractors?
So can are we going to the annual report again?
I don't know. We'll find out.
A lot of that information will be contained in our annual report. Our Chief Operating Officer will just come up and perhaps if we move to the next question and then she can follow up.
What's the total wage bill for all the employees, including casuals and contractors?
So Ms Pagora will be able to help you out with that detail.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Liza Pagora, Chief Operating Officer of the Clean Energy Regulator. Can I just confirm your question, Senator, was with regards to the number or the breakdown of our staff?
Permanent, casual and contractors, please.
Senator, I don't have that level of detail with me, unfortunately. I do have the number of contracting staff that we've had from January this year until October and the number of FTE, but I don't have the number of casuals or non-ongoing.
Could we get them on notice, please? Yes. Thank you. And what's the total wage bill for all of those people, the permanents, the casuals and the contractors?
Again, Senator, we don't carry the data in that form with us, so it's best we take that on notice.
Okay, thank you. What's the total budget excuse me, for the Clean Energy Regulator, including any grants or programs you administer?
So our departmental funding, Senator, is around 115 million. Our administered revenue, so that associated with programs that we run, is in the order of $37 million. However, I would just note for the record that where we have our greatest impact is actually in the issuance of certificates that then carry value in a marketplace. And so both with renewable energy and also with the Australian Carbon Credit Unit scheme, we issue certificates that are of material value and which are then financial instruments managed through our registries.
So it's fair to say, isn't it, that this is not a market meeting people's needs. This is a market to meet regulations, global regulations as well. Concocted needs, if you like. I'm not diminishing your work.
No. So, Senator, I probably wouldn't quite characterise it in that way. We administer schemes that are made by government.
Sorry, what was that point?
That are made by government.
What
so, schemes.
Schemes.
And so if you take, for example, the Australian Carbon Credit Unit scheme, acting in conjunction with the safeguard mechanism. It then forms both a supply and demand side. Safeguard mechanisms are required through the regulations to manage their emissions to within their baseline or source unit certificates. And then the ACCU generates a supply of Australian carbon credit units, and then they facilitate trade in order to meet their obligations.
So there's no open market as such. There's no clamouring of citizens for carbon dioxide credits. They're a concoction of Malcolm Turnbull and Greg Hunt in 2015, just before Christmas, and bolstered by Chris Bowen in September of 2022 with the extension of the safeguard mechanism.
I think you're asking the official for a sort of, at best, an opinion.
What's your opinion,
The truth, Senator Roberts, is that these schemes are administered by this agency in the best interests of keeping costs down for Australian electricity consumers and efficiently managing the process of reducing emissions across sectors, and it's judged by successive governments to be in the interests of doing that in the most efficient way possible. That kind of capability is retained in the agency who's in front of you today.
So let me understand that, Senator Ayres. We've got a scheme that's been concocted that'll add more cost
Well, it wasn't
to
concocted.
energy. Hang on, that'll add more cost, and now we've got a market in place due to regulations to try and bring it down.
No, Senator,
No?
I don't agree with that.
Okay. Last question then. But there's no one can identify a fundamental need of people. There's no market that's other than the concocted market, the fabricated market.
Senator, the only thing that I would note, in addition to the requirement for people to comply with the various government regulatory structures, is there has over recent years been a reasonably strong emergence of a voluntary market, both for Australian carbon credit units and also for renewable energy certificates. So on this Australian carbon credit side, we see in the order of a million units surrendered per annum. And on the electricity side, we see very significant surrenders of certificates in the order of 10 million over and above the 33 million that is the regulated target. And a lot of what has driven that are the various objectives, particularly across corporate Australia, for voluntary emissions reduction and meeting their own targets, and the desire to source credible renewable energy of high integrity to do that. And so the market is performing both its regulatory functions but also facilitating voluntary participation.
So I noticed peppered through your statement there, and I thank you for the statement, that the words regulated, comply, carbon dioxide, you said carbon credits, I call them carbon dioxide credits. These are all to make the best of a concocted market that's only there because of regulations. They're only there because nowhere in the world, as I understand it, has carbon dioxide been called a pollutant, designated a pollutant. So I just make that point. Final question, Chair. What is the total salary package of everyone here at the desk? So, particularly executive level, what band?
So, Senator Roberts, as I think other agencies have done, our executive remuneration is in our annual report.
Is that the complete cost, including on costs?
That's the salaries associated with those. If you are seeking other information related to our salaries, we will take it on notice
I'd like
come
the
back
total
to you.
cost that the taxpayer pays for you, for example, not just what you get in hand, but everything and as part of the package.
Again, Senator Roberts, I would suggest that you have a look at the annual report. if it doesn't give you sufficient detail, that you then place a question on notice for further
Sure.
detail from the officials.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Just one final question, building on the last one. Why is there so much reluctance to share the salaries? Because surely you would know what you cost.
Senator, we report executive remuneration as part of our annual reporting cycle. That's the data that I bring to these committee meetings. If there's other information that you're seeking, and it's information that's generally publicly available, we'd be delighted to supply it on notice.
But you would know your total cost to the taxpayer?
Senator Roberts,
do you know?
it's a pretty unfair line of questioning. The official has
What's unfair
said
about it,
the official has said that the salary, the remuneration details. It's pretty unfair to characterise it as the official not answering your question. Is what
I didn't
I mean.
characterise it that. That's what you're fabricating now, Senator.
What he has said is that information is now publicly available in their report, which you could have read on the way here. In addition to that, if there's more information that he can provide, he will provide it on notice.
Thank you.
Can't ask for more than that.
No, and I made the observation that I'm surprised that people don't know this or can't readily divulge it. That's all. Thank you, Chair.